And then
I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then, Commissioner Walls, we're just doing attendance. Okay, so Commissioner Walls, you're on mute, but we're just okay. You just need to say here.
Sure, sorry, I couldn't hear anybody, so I was messing with the audio here.
Okay.
All right, so we've completed roll call. Now we'll add to the cacophony of technology by doing our salute to the flag, which I know is a little bit challenging because of the timing for it. But Commissioner Koopman, could I ask you to lead us in the salute to the flag?
You're not going to see me. Okay, everyone stand. Ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of America and to
the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Koopman.
I've never recited it that slowly before. I almost thought I was forgetting it.
You killed it. All right, so I think you all have the package, and the first item on the agenda is to approve the order of agenda. You may have noticed we have a guest, Director Schramm, who was in the newspaper article that we had in the packet from 2018 about Open Plus. And so because she's probably not that interested in the rest of our agenda, could I get a motion to move item J1? Director Anderson, can we just move it up even before blue folder items, or do we have to do it? Is there some precedent of blue folder before we have anything else?
We probably have to do blue folder items first.
So maybe up to preceding F to J1 preceding F1. Is that okay?
I think we could do it preceding L.
I1?
I1, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
L to me.
So could I please get a motion and a second to move item J1 to before I1?
I move
Thank you, Commissioner Worsing.
move that.
I can second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. I'll just take a quick roll call vote. Aye, if you're in favor. Is there any discussion? All right. I'm sorry, Commissioner Koopman, your hand's up. Did you want to discuss it or?
Yeah, I just want to know why we're doing that.
Just so that she can cover her topic and then move on before, so she doesn't have to listen to the rest of our stuff.
I don't know who you're referring to by she. There's several females.
So Director Schramm's visiting us. She's
great, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I maybe missed my preamble there. Does that make sense now?
Yes, completely. Okay. Thank you.
Any more discussion for the motion and second on the floor? All right, if you're in favor, say aye. Commissioner Koopman.
Aye.
Commissioner Nafisi. Commissioner Hannon.
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Nafisi. Commissioner Walls.
Aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Aye.
Commissioner Worsing. And I probably should have asked for, thank you. I probably should have asked for the motion to include, to keep the rest of the agenda the same. Is that implied, Director Anderson? Can we move on to? Okay.
Yes.
Blue folder items. Are there any blue folder items?
No.
Is there any discussion on the consent calendar? Is there a motion to receive and file the consent calendar?
Did you do the minutes? Approval of the minutes?
Yeah, they're part of aren't they part of the consent calendar?
Yes.
Is there any discussion on the consent calendar, which includes the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hannon. Thank you, Commissioner Koopman. Do a quick roll call vote. If you're any discussion on this, if you're in favor of approving the consent calendar, please say aye. Commissioner Koopman,
Aye.
Commissioner Nafisi,
Aye.
Commissioner Hannon,
Aye.
Commissioner Walls,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
and Commissioner Worsen.
Aye.
Thank you. We do have public. Director Schramm, is there anything else that you want to comment on any items?
No comment.
All right. All right. So we're on to item J1, which is discussion of Open Plus access. So Director Schramm, thank you for putting up with our parliamentary stuff. And I guess we can give you the floor.
Well, I just was going to say a few words about the topic, and
Sure.
First, but I really appreciate County Library Director Nancy Schramm coming here to answer questions on the topic. She's from Ventura County and our first guest, I believe, at the commission. So that's exciting. But just to say a few words about Open Plus, when Ventura County implemented Open Plus, there were only 2 libraries in the United States using it. So she was really on the cutting edge there in Ventura County. I will say Santa Monica just implemented it at the Ocean Park Branch Library, and that launched on July 28th. So just recently, and people will be able to use that library on Wednesdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You know, they had some severe budget cuts in Santa Monica, so their hours were greatly reduced, but now people will be able to use the library through Open Plus. And then in Torrance Public Library, it will be the El Retiro branch that will be implementing it. They've had a few setbacks, but it looks like it may be good to go at the end of this month. So that is very close to Redondo. So we may get some interest in it because of that. El Retiro is in a park. And I think they're looking to just supplement some hours in the morning because they have a lot of families and seniors in that park in the morning. So just a couple of early morning hours. Now, one of the things you have to install is video cameras. And because of that, if you read through this article from Ventura County, this was a new library. So they did low shelving. So there would be greater sight lines for these video cameras. Obviously, we wouldn't have planned for that here. I think just reading this article to me, I would feel that in a library the size of the main library, it's probably not feasible because of the sight lines, but maybe feasible in some place like the North Branch, which is a lot smaller. Because I think at El Retiro, the shelving is pretty high. And then the other thing I just wanted to point out is there is a monthly maintenance cost of about $1,000 per month. So with that, I will cede the floor to Director Schramm and let you guys ask any questions you may have about this, or she may want to add some information as well.
Good evening, everybody, commissioners and Director Anderson, Susan. First of all, thank you for adjusting your agenda. That was really super nice. I have to admit, I'm kind of looking forward to going and watching the gymnastics of the Olympics. So this will enable me to do that now. So thank you. Really appreciate that. I'm Nancy Schramm, and I am the library director for the Ventura County Library System. And I can just give you a little brief overview of Open Plus. I'll kind of keep it brief here, but after I give you a brief overview, please feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. I'm very used to talking to other libraries about Open Plus, and I really believe that it's a new model for library services that really could be a sea change for public libraries here in the United States. This is a system they've been using in Europe now for almost 15 years now at this time, but it's still very new here in the States. As Susan said, when Ventura County found out about this, Open Plus, we were in the process of opening a new branch library on the east side of Ventura. And this was going to be in an existing space that we were able to design from scratch. It was a former restaurant, but when the library leased the space, it was bare concrete. So we did have the advantage of building it from the scratch. And we were in the very early stages of that process when we found out about Open Plus. So it was extremely beneficial that we could design the space around that service. Just to be clear, I'm not sure if you all know exactly what Open Plus is, but it is a system whereby patrons can scan their library card on a scanner at the front door, and that opens and unlocks the front door, and they can come in and use basic library self-services even when staff are not there. So much of what we do in the library is offer self-services. There is nothing we're doing at the branch where we operate with Open Plus hours that we don't do at other libraries, except that piece of it that I just mentioned. It's simply giving them that access when staff aren't there. The reason we were so attracted to this service was because we wanted to expand access. We only had enough funding for a certain number of hours of operation because that's when we had staff available. And so we said, well, how could we expand access in spite of that? We knew this was going to be a really busy library. There hadn't been a library on the east side of Ventura for several years. The previous library had closed down, and the community was very vocal that they needed library services. So we knew this was going to be a busy library, and we wanted to provide as much access and services as we could. So when we found out that Open Plus existed, we said, yes, we are very interested. At that time, only Gwinnett County, Georgia was operating with Open Plus, and their model was a little bit different because they had staff in a back administrative office during Open Plus hours. So we were actually the first in the country to operate this 5,000 square foot branch completely without staff being present. And it does enable the patrons to come in. It is available to those who are 18 and over in good standing. But if a parent wants to bring a minor child in with them, they can do that. But it's 18 and over, people in good standing. When we issue somebody an Open Plus library card, staff goes through a training with them. So there's an actual checklist that we go through and we educate the customer. This is our code of conduct. You're going to be on camera. Please don't let people piggyback in behind you. You know, all these types of things. Here's how you actually scan your card and put in your PIN number and get inside. So there's a whole education piece that we do with that patron up front when they sign up. It's very important that we tell them they're on camera. If they do violate that code of conduct, then they would obviously lose privileges. That has not happened. We opened the library December 4th, 2017. That happens to be the same day the Thomas Fire broke out in our backyard, basically, in Ventura. And so because of the fire and the impact on Ventura, Open Plus was not launched until February. It was beginning of February 2018. We have used it ever since. It enabled us to increase our hours by 12 hours per week originally. We have now increased it even more, and all day Sundays, the entire day is only offered through Open Plus. The community embraced it. They love this library. It is a well-loved library. In the first 6 months of use of this library, it became the second busiest library in our entire library system of 12 libraries. It's a very busy little library, and well-loved, and people respect the library, and we've had nothing but good things that people have said about accessing it during those Open Plus hours. We call our Open Plus hours express hours because I really want to stress that it's not full library services. We clearly need our staff. There is no doubt about it. That's ideal to do all types of things, story times and literacy tutoring and reference, answering reference questions, et cetera. We need our staff. But this is a way to increase that basic library access, basic self-services in spite of limited resources. And just quickly, I'll mention that services offered during that time include checkout of holds, so people can come in and pick up holds, check them out. They have access to the whole facility. We have 2 small meeting rooms that they can use during those express hours. They can browse the collection, check out the collection. They can read magazines, newspapers. They can check out a computer laptop. We have a laptop kiosk at this facility, and not desktop computers, so they can check out a laptop and use it in the library. They can bring their own device. They can connect to the Wi-Fi. We have a patio at this facility, so they can sit outside. So there's numerous services that they can still use even when staff are not there. So this is at our Hill Road Library. It is on the east side of Ventura. And I am happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I have a question.
Actually, Commissioner Koopman was just a hair ahead of you, and then
Okay.
Commissioner Worsing will be next.
Okay, I'll raise my hand.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate it. So there's absolutely no staff there at all, not even there to at the end of the day to make sure everything's okay, or so no one comes on the site at all?
Good question. We have typically always offered morning hours. So the hours for express service were from 10 to 12 every day in the morning. 8 to 10 is what I meant to say. 8 to 10 in the morning. And there was no staff present until about 9:30. They would come in and get ready to open the library. However, now that we offer all-day services on Sunday, we have no staff there all day. We do, at the end of the day, for 2 hours, have a contracted security guard there.
Thank you.
Commissioner Worsing?
So you mentioned that you hadn't had any issues since opening in 2017. So that's 5 years. What is the worst thing that's happened?
The worst thing that's happened at that particular library didn't happen during express hours, which I think is really ironic. We had a gentleman who decided he was going to walk out the door with one of our laptops, but that was when staff were there. We were able to easily find him because the laptop kiosk took his picture. And of course, we have 12 high definition cameras in this facility. So we were easily able to find him. During express hours, the 2 things. One thing that did happen is a woman reported to us that she came to the front door early in the morning. She was one of our seniors who got there right at 8 when the library opened. And she told us there was an individual who was lying there. He might have been sleeping there. She assumes maybe he was homeless, appeared to be homeless anyways. And so she told us that she simply scanned her card, and he did get up like he was going to come inside the library, and she did exactly what we told her. She said, I'm sorry, this library's not open yet, and he left. So she handled it exactly as we had told her to, and did not, this gentleman did not come in with her. That to me was probably the best example of something that happened during Express. There was nothing even close to that. But it worked out fine.
Commissioner Hall?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to ask, what do you think are the most popular reasons that people are coming in during the Express hours?
We have a wide range of people who use those hours. We see older adults coming in. We see young parents with very young children, the real little guys, 0 to 5 coming in. And we have people who come in and use the meeting rooms for business meetings and purposes. So they'll come in either by themselves on a computer or maybe with one other person, and they're business people. We also, this particular library is across the street from the main Ventura County Government Center. So we do also have county employees who come in, including those who work in the jail, which is across the street. And they can only come in during those real early hours. So we have a lot of county employees who are coming in during that time as well. Those are the main clientele during that period.
Commissioner Koopman, did you have another question?
I do. I'll lower my hand right now. I was just wondering about the cameras. I mean, you had the advantage, correct, of having a newly constructed building, and so you can install the cameras. So were those cameras part of your own budget, or were they part of Open Plus's system? Am I making myself clear? Like you had to install them yourself, correct? As opposed to...
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's totally clear. And for us, it was part of the Open Plus package. However, they do offer the system without cameras. So if you already have cameras or have a security service that you contract with, that's perfectly fine with them. So you can do it either way, either model. This system does tie in to our security system. We contract with Bay Alarm for security as well. So clearly there's, a lot of great efficiencies with this system. It when the building closes, it automatically sets the alarm. It turns off the lights even. So there's a lot of turns on the alarm, turns off the alarm. It makes automatic closing announcements. There's a lot of efficiencies with this system as well. And I should have mentioned too, a very important piece of this is that it interacts through a SIP2 connection with our integrated library system. So our ILS, that database that has all of our library patrons in it, it is connected to that. It's tied to that. So when somebody scans their library card, that's how the system knows, yes, this is a customer of the library and they're in good standing, they're over 18. So that is an important piece of this is that connection.
Thank you.
I had 3 questions. The first one is, it sounds amazing. Why not 24/7? Why not just like open it completely up instead of just a couple hours or just all day Sunday?
We are working hard to increase those hours. Post-COVID, mid-June, we expanded express hours. And our ultimate goal is to keep expanding them. One reason that we initially started with the 12 hours is because we were the second library in the country to do this.
Sure.
And we also tailored the hours so that they mirrored the hours of the cafe that is right next door. It is a unique situation. One reason was because we liked the fact that there would be people around and people coming who could come over from the cafe and use the library. But another reason that was unique to us that won't be for you is we share a tandem restroom with that cafe. So anyways, we now have a expanded hours, like I said, to all day Sunday as well. And we're going to keep expanding them. And we're also going to expand the service to our other libraries. The next one that's set to go is the Fillmore Library. And that library will break ground on a construction project starting October of this year. And part of that remodel project and expansion project will be to add Open Plus services, express hours at that location as well.
So I have a follow-up question to that, which is on Sunday, or do you have more hours than the cafe? I'm just wondering, do you think you're getting a psychological benefit from having somebody kind of watching-ish? I mean, because we don't have a cafe near the North Branch, for example.
We did initially, but we are very comfortable with the service now, and that is not a factor for us now. The cafe closes at 2:00 on Sundays and will be open until 5. So it's working, and we're very comfortable with it now.
Okay, thank you. The second question I had was around a reservation system. Is, for example, for access to the laptop or access to the meeting room. I'm imagining that there would be a benefit of having, the patrons that are interested in going outside of hours to be able to reserve. Is that something that you guys do or have thought of?
We have, and I know that the vendor has also thought of it, and they are working with other meeting room software companies to integrate that. And so I do believe that is a possibility. We don't have it though at this location. We have a different way that we reserve the meeting room, but they also have another related product called Open Plus Count that allows only a certain number of people into the building, and then when those people come out, another person can go in. So, and it's a lot more sophisticated than that too. Really tracks a lot of statistics. They can even predict, ages and determine ages based on library cards scanned and things like that. So it's quite sophisticated, but we do not use meeting room reservation or Open Plus Count at this point.
Thank you. My last question is in this training this checklist training that you're doing, and you use the term people in good standing. Are you doing a background check, a credit check, or you just hey, they've borrowed stuff, they've returned stuff, that's good standing? What does good standing mean? Maybe that's my question.
First and foremost, yes, they don't owe any fines over $40, although we did just go fine free in September. So that's not a factor so much anymore. But we also at the library have the ability to ban people if they really do violate our code of conduct. We've worked closely with our county council to develop a process where depending on the seriousness of the violation, they can be banned from anywhere from a week to a year or more. So clearly somebody who in that library or another library who was banned would not be able to access this.
Thank you, Director Schramm. Are there any more questions? This was, I'm super stoked. I think this is so cool.
I have a question actually. I assume that the library was still closed during COVID though for a while. Even this library was probably closed, I imagine.
We were closed completely from mid-March 2020 to June 2020, and then we opened up walk-up holds pickup. So the public didn't really start coming back into the library, and we didn't launch Open Plus hours until June of 2021. So there was a year and a couple of months there where yes, we did. It didn't apply.
And then I know you said, it sounds like you haven't had problems with patrons. Have you had any problems with the technology?
We haven't. Well, let me change my answer on that.
That's a good question.
We were a bit of a guinea pig. They were experimenting with us because we were one of the first. And initially, that's why, frankly, we have 12 high-def cameras in a 5,000 square foot space. You don't need that many cameras, no way. But the vendor was experimenting with different types of cameras. But we also originally had Cat 6 cabling, and the runs between our server room where the control box is for this Open Plus software to the actual entrance was very, very far in 2 cases. And what was happening was initially it kept dropping out. And so they had to upgrade the cabling, the Cat 7 cabling. And once they did that, we have had, I'm knocking on wood here, no problems. And that was very early on in the process. That was in 2018. And if you do decide to go with this, I can always come back and talk to you again, the whole board or Susan to you. There's a lot of little tips that people might not necessarily think of. You could even come up and